CSS number 6 is about using an image as a background on a web page, and I've got two ways to do it on this handout, getting backgrounds from the internet and create your own with Photoshop. Now if you're at home, you may not have access to Photoshop, so I might show it in this movie, but I wouldn't even worry about it. If you don't have Photoshop, you don't have Photoshop, or if you can't get if you can't get access to it, then you can do all of the assignment by just grabbing images off the internet to do it that way. So I'm going to show everything. The handout is posted on Google Classroom, but I'm going to show everything on this assignment. So here we go. The first thing is the images. You need to collect some images that you might want to use, and usually like patterns are better for that. Here's some examples. I did a search, a Google image search for seamless chevron pattern. Chevron are kind of like those little check marks, but it gave me a whole bunch of results here. One of the things that I did when I was searching, I went to the tools button here and I went to size. This will say size, and I said icon because I wanted smaller images. They work better for background patterns. So just kind of keep that in mind. Big images may not really work all that well. And you see, like when I did this search for seamless chevron texture, I got a lot of possibilities here. These are all kind of cool looking things that I could try out if I wanted to, but I think I'm going to try this one that I have selected over here on the right hand side. It's kind of a tealish color there. I'm going to right click and do a save image as. And I'll just put it in my, where am I going to put it? I've got an option to put it here on my Google Drive. I'll put it in my downloads folder, all right? And it's got a weird file name up here, so I'm just going to call it Chevron. Chevron is like that zigzaggy line, and I'll just save that, all right? So you could do, there's all kinds of, look down here, look at that cow print. All right, so here's like seamless dot pattern. I did a search for seamless dot pattern, and again I used the tool size and did icon size, so they're smaller. And look at these. Look at all these. All right, look at all these possibilities. You could try out any of them. They might not all look great, but you never know. You don't know until you try. I kind of like this little diamond thing that I just found here. I was just clicking around and looking, so I'm going to right click that and I'm going to do a save image as, and I'll just call this diamond, and this should go in my, all right, it's going into my downloads folder. Cool. And if you're not going to use Photoshop, you could go ahead and just get 3 of them, right? Here's another like a metal pattern that I found, and I'm going to right click that and I'll do save image as, and I'll just call that metal. All right, great. So I just collected 3 little kind of texture-y, pattern-y images that I did by doing Google searches. Okay. Now, what if you want to do, what if you have access to Photoshop? What if you have Photoshop or you know how to get to Photoshop? Here's what I would recommend. Create yourself a new document and make it square. I would make it square. And I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'll do 256 by 256 on the dimensions, on the width and height, and the resolution of 72. And that'll be good enough. And I'll just create that. All right, it's small. So on Photoshop, you can Control or Command plus and zoom in. And then I could do a number of things here. I could paint on this. I could add whatever I wanted. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'll go B for brush. I'm going to click here and make sure I have the hardness up. I want the hardness up for what I'm about to do here. And I'm going to make the brush bigger. And get a color. I've got purple, that'll work. All right, so I'm just going to go like twink. All right, so I just made a purple dot, right? It's a round brush, it's a paintbrush, it's purple, it's a round brush. I just did that. Okay, now I'm going to go File, and I'm going to export it. I'm not going to save it as a Photoshop document. I'm going to export it. And I could do, PNG would be fine. PNG would work. Or I could do export as. And if I do export as, that gives me the option over here on the right-hand side of PNG, JPEG, GIF, whatever format I want, PNG, JPEG, GIF, whatever. I'll just go JPEG on this. It's fine with me. I'm going to export that. I'll just put it in my downloads folder so it'll be in the same place as all those others, and I'll call it purple dot. All right. Now, so, the first thing I did was I got some images off the internet, but I also wanted to show you how you could create one of your own. And it wouldn't have to be Photoshop. If you have some other kind of image editor where you can create little JPEGs, something like this, it wouldn't have to be Photoshop. If you can produce a JPEG or a PNG where you kind of made it yourself, then it will work. All right, so now it's time to go back to code.org, and here's what you're going to do on code.org. There's not a bunch. It's on the handout. If you'll go back to the handout and look, it's on there. We're going to the web lab. Okay. There we go. And the first thing I'm going to do, this is weird, but I'm not really even going to write any HTML. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add images. And I want to add all the images that I just saved. So I got to upload file. And I stored all that stuff in my downloads folder, so that's where I'm going to be looking here. I want to go by date modified here. So here we go. I've got Chevron. And remember, code.org won't let you do multiples, which is silly, but whatever. So I got the Chevron, and go upload, and I got the diamond, and open that. And I've got the metal. And then I've also got my purple dot. All right, so I've got them all open, right? There we go. Yay. Cool. So the work really is going to be done on the style.css, and there on this style.css there's a body rule right up here, and there's also a paragraph rule and an H1 rule that was just provided by default. It's just there. I'm just going to push it down. I'm not even going to use those today, because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come up into the body rule, and this is where your work of the day is done. All right, so I'm going to change this tag up here, this property. It's a property. I'm going to change it from background to background dash image. You can see if I start typing it, it even finishes it for me. And we're going to do URL down here. And then inside the parentheses, it's looking over there in my asset panel, and it's giving me a choice of all those images I have. So I'll just go with Chevron first. That's fine with me. Boom. Now I'll have to put a semicolon there. And oops, I didn't get the semicolon where I wanted. I want the semicolon right there. Now you might have to, nothing's happened, so you might have to actually click on the index.html to make it kind of refresh and save. And I'm going to pull this over. Hey, look at that. It's not perfectly seamless. I can kind of see some seams in there, but what I'm showing you here is now you could lay HTML elements on top of that background. I don't know if you love that background or not. That's not the point. But the idea is we know how to do it. That's what I want. I want you to know how to do it. So I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna rename this, and I'll call this. You could call it BG1. I want you to do 3 of these. You're gonna have to do 3 different ones. That's why we uploaded more than one picture. All right. So I'm going to call that BG1. I'll save that. And just to be safe, I can come way over to the right and hit refresh and save just to make sure that's saved. All right. Now, to do the other one, I'm not going to make a new code or anything. I'm just going to remix. I'm going to rename, and I'll call this one BG2. Save that. And I'll go back to the style.css, and all I'm going to do is change the picture. I just want to see some variety. Right up here in the body rule, it says background-image, URL. You see how it's done? This is what I want you to see. URL, parenthesis, you put the name of the file in there, close the parentheses, put your semicolon, and look, it made here, I'm going to pull that over again. Sorry, I should have done that. Pull it over. All right, so I'm going to switch that up, right? And I'll just come in here and backspace out whatever I need to backspace out, right? Image, and I'm doing URL. I didn't have to erase all that, but oh well. And I'm going to switch it up to be the diamond pattern. There we go. And I'll put my semicolon at the end. And this time it just kind of updated for me right away. I didn't even have to switch over to the index.html. There it is. I have that diamond pattern. So this one, I'm going to rename. I didn't take the rename off there. Okay, there we go. That's better. That's BG2, and I'm going to hit refresh and save on that one. So now I have BG1 and I have BG2. Now you got to do one more. All right. Before you go to your next one, before you go to your new one, you're thinking I'm getting ready to do a new one. that's when you got to remix. It's also probably a good time to rename. And this one is going to be my BG3. All right. All right, 3 of them. I'm going to pull this over, pull my window over so you can see it. And again, all I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the style.css and I'm going to just swap out the picture. I just want a different picture is all. So this isn't a lot of work. I don't know if it'll let me. Yeah, it's going to work. I had to erase one parenthesis and now it's going to work. So I can play around. Do I want the metal? Let's see the metal. All right, and I might have to see if it doesn't show up, either refresh and save or click on the index.html, and here's what that metal texture looks like when I apply it to the page. Or let's go back to, let's see what my purple dot looks like. I'll go back over here and I'll take out the metal.png and I could type it myself, purple-dot.jpg. Now my dots were, obviously bigger, and so it makes a much bigger pattern on there. And that's what, you have to kind of watch what you do. If you're going to make your own, you have to kind of watch what you do. You want to make them maybe kind of small, but it's working, right? And you know what? I think just because I like it better, I'm going to switch. I'm going to take off the purple dot and go back to the metal. I like that better. Just like it better. All right, that is my BG3 right there. I'm going to hit refresh and save. And if I were to go look at my projects over on the right-hand side, I click where I see my name and I go to my projects. I see, okay, there we go. I've got BG1, I've got BG2, and I've got BG3. So now what you would have to do to submit these, to turn these in, I would click on BG1. It has my chevron background. I would hit share. I would copy that link, go to Google Classroom and attach that link. And it's like the other day when we did the filters, right? And then I would have to go to, I would click on my BG2, and it has the diamond pattern, so I would hit share, and I would take that link, and I would copy that link. I would go back to Google Classroom and attach that link. So you're going to have to attach all 3 links because I want to see all 3 of your versions, and I don't want to have to change. I don't want to have to change your CSS myself. I want you to do that. All right, so that's it. That's assignment number 6 in CSS. Let's do it.